What's up, everyone? I'm Madison the Imouto, and I'm here to review... That was a drum roll. Bungou Stray Dogs episode 11. Now, in this episode, we started off with a quick little skit, and it was so cute. We got to see, oh crap, I always forget her name. I'm just gonna call her the kimono girl. The cute little kimono girl she was like dressed up in like a maid's uniform, and it was so cute. And like everybody was like gathered around her taking pictures and stuff. And like after she was all afraid, like, oh, what if they don't accept her? And then like everybody was treating her like a little sister. Even Bungou, but he's such a savage. He like had her mix the two little powder things, and then he took it for himself. He's such a savage. I love him. Like, literally. And then when, like, the detective guy came in, and he's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. I arrested your partner. You remember that? And he's like, yeah, I remember that. Anyway. It was so funny. I love Bungou. He's such a sav. Moving on with the episode, we go with Higuchi. That's her name, right? I don't really like her, to be honest. She's, like, all over Akutagawa, like, notice me, senpai, notice me. I don't have a power, but I can shoot guns. Love me, love me. It's like, no. The only person who doesn't have a power and is still freaking awesome is Ranpo. So you can just, Oh, and Naomi. She doesn't have a power and she's freaking awesome. Even Assistant Lady is awesome. I don't know her name. We just call her Assistant. She's awesome. You, my friend, are clingy. I don't like clingy. So why don't you back up from where you came from? And we see Akutagawa was pretty wrecked. Like Atsushi really got him, you know? You know, he was bad. He was like hooked up to life support and stuff. And, you know, Higuchi was taking that pretty hard because that's her senpai and possible lover, but whatever. Who cares about her feelings? And then in the middle of the night, she gets a phone call, and she, I guess, knows that Akutagawa has been stolen by thievery. You get what I mean. And for a second, I felt like he was immediately going to die, because when you're hooked onto life support and they pull the plug, you die. But, you know, I guess he was holding on by a thread. And, you know, Black Lizard was there. Okay, I lost all respect for Black Lizard because, legit, they presented themselves like they were this cool, badass mafia thing. And then literally we see them getting their butts kicked by, you know, the detective agency. And that just really, like, disappointed me. Like, he was, the dude with the beard, he was, like, smoking. And then we got the guy who has the mask on, and the dude with the Band-Aid. Like, they all looked freaking cool the first time I saw them. And then they just lost. Okay, but we see them again. I hope that we get to know a little more about them, I guess. Maybe I might gain respect for them again, but I don't know. So they were all like, you know, Akutagawa was pretty useful. The only reason we listened to you guys was because he was pretty scary with that power of his. Tell me something, Higuchi. Why would we listen to you if Akutagawa was incapacitated? And I'm just like, oh, so it's that kind of partnership. Like, you guys only did it out of fear. Like, you guys don't actually respect them as your superior officers. So they just left her high and dry, and she went on her own to go to Akutagawa. And, you know, she goes in there by herself. She throws in a bomb. They start shooting at each other, and it's her against a ton of guys. And, you know, at first, I was all like, how are they missing her? Like, it's one girl, and it's like thousands of bullets flying everywhere. But finally they hit her, and I was just like, yes! Higuchi's down! And then finally, they were like, had the gun to her, and they were gonna pull the trigger. And then when I heard it, I got so happy. I'm like, oh, they actually killed her. Yes! But then we see that somebody else pulled the trigger, and I was like, oh, she's alive. That's great. No. Alright, I was hoping she'd be dead, to be honest, if I'm being completely honest, which I am. But, you know, she ends up saving Akutagawa because Black Lizard came, and, you know, that was kind of cool. He's like, kill anyone you don't recognize. I feel bad for the one guy that, like, showed up, and he looked exactly like the bad guy, so he probably died. But, yeah, so, Akutagawa and Higuchi shared a sweet little moment. But I don't really care about all that because Akutagawa slays by himself. Ha! Screw you. For this next part of the review, I would like to wear a certain item that represents a character we really got to know today. Kenji is Finny confirmed. Finny confirmed. He's Finny from Black Butler. Me and Sloan both knew it the second we saw him. Like, he looked like Finny. He had the freaking hat, and he's Finny. Finny confirmed. So today, because we've seen him in the opening and we saw him in the first episode, and it's like, I didn't really know his name. I just called him like Finny number 2 or like the farm boy or whatever, but his name's Kenji. And so yeah, he's this sweet little bean, this little farm boy, and he presents himself with such like happiness, and he's all cheerful, and he knows everybody in town. He's from a small village. First of all, I'm starting to question the way they do things back where he's from. He's like, they're like, the police officers apparently don't do much but like help out the town really like that. And then they're like, oh, what happens if someone commits a crime? Oh, we tie them up and throw them off a cliff. It's like, oh, like, it's like, oh, okay, that's not weird at all, or cruel and unusual, but, I don't understand country folk, but, yeah, so, obviously Atsushi was forced or whatever to go along with Kenji into town. I mean, he seemed happy at first, because he's like, oh, yay, I get to go on another mission, woohoo, but then, and, he was happy because he saw that Kenji was, like, friends with everybody and popular and all that. And then, literally, Kenji doesn't really have to do much to get, like, answers out of people. He just stands there, he's nice, and he's like, well, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, goodbye. And as he's walking away, and other, like, people will just tell him their secrets. It's very odd. I don't know, whatever. Personally, I think someone that's that happy has something wrong with them, but yeah. Alright, I can dig it. So, this big dude, they're like doing this investigation because there was this car explosion and all this craziness in town, and this big dude, he's friends with Kenji, and he basically tells him everything. He's like, word on the street is, but you didn't hear it from me. And so, they go over to the site of the leading suspects, and it's their, like, house, and it's, like, this mafia, or not mafia, it's, like, a gang, really, of thugs, and he's, like, he asks in this polite way, while meanwhile Atsushi's in the corner, like, oh my god, we're in a gang's house, and then he's all like, hi, I would just like to know, did you guys do that bombing in the middle of town? Just, I'm asking because, I don't want to accuse you or anything, and they're just like, ha, we had nothing to do with that, right, boys? And then it's clearly obvious they didn't. And then he's like, oh, well, thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. Sorry to have bothered you. Well, we'll be on our way now. Thank you. And Atsushi's just like, what? And the guys are like, we made it fairly obvious that it was us, but okay. So they leave. And Atsushi's like, what's wrong with you? They clearly made it obvious that it was them. And he's like, patience, Atsushi. It's going to be okay. Clearly wasn't them. They said it wasn't. And I'm like, is this guy some kind of nut? He's weird. And, like 2 seconds later, they all drive up and they're like, it was us, by the way. And he's like, see, Atsushi? They always tell. And Atsushi's like, okay. And, he was mentioning, Kenji was mentioning how he was hungry before, and I didn't really take much notes, like, alright, you're hungry, whatever. And one dude decides to hit him in the back of the head with a club, and I was just like, okay, I guess that's it for you. And, they're all in the middle of fighting, and he gets up, and he's like, oh, ouch, oh, no, and he's being way too creepily happy for a guy who's just hit in the head. And, like, y'all know, like, Shizuo from Durara, he was hit in the head, and he punched a dude in the face, and he flew across town. So, I mean, just referencing my husband. But anywho, yeah, so he was hit in the back of the head, and he's like, well, this sometimes happens. I get a little hurt, but you know what you gotta do? And then he lifts their car. He's like, he's just like, hi guys, like, Kenji, put down that dangerous item, young man. Like, my little child, he can't be doing such things. And he just whacks them he just whacks them all with their car. It was really funny. So yeah, and then he beat them, and then Atsushi was very confused with his feelings toward Kenji, because he was all like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I understand, we'll be happy together. And then later he's just like, Nani? And then, you know, they're all happy together. But then finally, after all that craziness, he calls Kunikita. He's like, Kunikita, I can't work under these conditions, I don't understand him. And then Kunikita's like, shut up, brat, I know. Don't you think I know that? I know. And, you know, Kunikita already knew from the start that Kenji's style of dealing with crimes was very unique and kind of frustrating to work with. So, but Atsushi found it for himself, and, you know, I don't think they'll be working together for very much. But he's a ball of sunshine. I get happy looking at him. He's like this little happy child. So, yeah. Yeah, and then, it just closes like that, you know, the thing is ending. In the aftermath scene, we see Dazai, and he's clearly been drinking a lot of sake. Alright, that ain't no Coca-Cola soda or water. There was like a lot of bottles, and he was like writing something. So, cause I was confused, like we didn't see him for the whole episode. I'm like, wait, what happened to Dazai? And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what that whole situation's about. I think next week is the last episode. Oh my god, oh my god. Is next week the last episode? I gotta deal with that later. So, yeah. One more thing I'd like to comment about is the soundtrack. I like the soundtrack when, Black Lizard was, breaking in, and it was kind of like a rap beat. It was like, I don't even remember, but it was pretty cool. I just wanted to comment on that. Good OST, good soundtrack. Well, that's about it on my end. Sorry this came out late, you know. Things to do, people to see. I don't know, I don't really have a life, but whatever. So, yeah, join Sloan whenever she makes another review. I don't know if it's today or probably tomorrow. Yeah, so see her tomorrow when she makes her review of Cabaneri and whatever else comes out tomorrow, because I don't pay attention. So, yeah, I'm Madison Imouto, and peace.